Good morning, and thank you again for joining us on the Compass Ecosystem Podcast. My name is Carolyn Gorst, and I am the Director of Development here at Compass Affordable Housing. And we're back again for another podcast brought to us by our dear friends for this segment at Tucson Electric Power. Today, I am joined again by my co-host and partner in crime, Lydia Aranda. Lydia, so great to have you back again.
Thanks, Carolyn. Always a pleasure, and I'm excited for this week's episode.
You and me both. So, just to remind everyone before we get started, the purpose of the Compass Ecosystem podcast is to inform, engage, and to connect the Southern Arizona community in a dialogue about its human development ecosystem. And today's guest, I'm so excited to have because I think the work he is doing really, and the organization that his work is doing, is really building a stronger human development ecosystem for all of us in Southern Arizona. Please help me in welcoming our guest, Larry Starks, with the Juneteenth Festival. Hi, Larry.
How's everyone doing?
Doing great.
Good, good, good.
So,
Welcome, Larry.
Larry,
So great to see you.
Great to see you both.
So, Larry, I want our audience to really understand. Tell us more about what the Juneteenth Festival is all about, the issues that you guys are addressing. I know that's a loaded question, the audience you serve, and some of the great things that you guys are seeing happen.
Right. So here's what I first say is Juneteenth is a holiday, right? Juneteenth is a holiday. Tucson Juneteenth is a brand and a movement. So as we go forward, I'm trying to get people to understand the difference what we're doing for Tucson Juneteenth and the festival. We're really about incorporating community, not just on the holiday, but throughout the year. So that's why we're having all of these events going on from January to December, putting the community together, because that is what really the story of Juneteenth, the holiday, is about. When 1865, when all of these people, I'm not going to give you the soft version. The soft version is, well, that's kind of when they found out they were free, and that's when it happened. But the hard version is, Galveston is an island in Texas, and there were over 250,000 Americans that were held there, unlawfully for over 2 years because they couldn't leave. Not that they didn't want to leave, they couldn't because they didn't have any boats to leave off of the island. So they were being held captive at this location for 2 years. And it took that long for the United States Army and some freed Americans, Black Americans, to actually go remove them from the island so they could be free. So that's the real story, and that's kind of how the celebration in 1866 began, when these freed Americans went out to different parts of the country to say, hey, we need to see what's out here, what we've been missing. And we're going to come back together in a year and celebrate. And it wasn't just about them celebrating, it was about them celebrating everyone and everything. And that's kind of how what we're doing at Tucson Juneteenth is really trying to encapsulate what that community is really about.
So I love that the story, or that the history of the festival starts with realizing that there is in human development, there has to be community,
Yeah.
and that going out and understanding the greater community, but coming back and connecting with your community. I'm getting chills right now, Lydia. Uh,
Absolutely. And the fact that this has been a notable recognition, celebration, a coming together, a recounting. And this is not new to Tucson or Southern Arizona in particular. This has been going on
Right.
a real long time, Larry. You and your colleagues have made this happen and allowed this to continue into the future generations.
Yeah, and I sit on the backs of giants, who started this over 56 years ago here in this community. I've also done some research to find out in 1901 and 1902, there were actually people here that were from Texas who were celebrating Juneteenth, not on this level, but still bringing that holiday and that celebration, not even the holiday, but the celebration of Juneteenth here to Southern Arizona. It really got large around the 1970s, where people from Texas started having, just backyard barbecues and gatherings and potlucks, at A Mountain Park. And then, of course, it grew into what it is today, so that people could, bring that community back together. I only joined the board of Tucson Juneteenth about 10 years ago. And I always tell people that after the passing of my brother. So it was like, I know Juneteenth because I'm a native Tucsonan. I've been around since, 5 years old. I've been going to the festival, people look forward to it. And I really wanted to get back to that, where people look forward to it, but not just the festival, but understanding throughout the year we build up. And I even tell my board, the festival is the highlight of what we've done all year long. All the work that we've put in, all the communities that we built, all the partnerships that we've created. That festival is a highlight of everything that we've built for those 365 days.
You bring up such an important point that the festival, and this is where after our break, we're going to really dive into this. Lydia, I know you have a question to build on this, that the festival is just one piece of the
Yes.
greater community that you're serving.
Yes.
And while everyone is welcome to come to the festival, encouraged,
Yes.
and
We
I
can
guarantee you're
encourage.
going to find something you enjoy doing or
Definitely. Definitely.
eating there.
Definitely.
Uh, you, it is beyond just a one-day event.
Yes, it is. It is. So we for this year, actually, we've had 14 events throughout the month of June. So, and I'm telling everyone, one thing we're doing is taking over the month of June, so that every June, and it's been a blessing each year. We've had people come to us and say, "Hey, how can we partner with you for this month to do something?" And, my motto is, let's go to places and spaces we don't normally go to. We've been doing like a ballet, the drawing studio, the plays at the U of A, different things like that, where the community can see. Because again, as we're moving those places, I can educate you about what Juneteenth really is. So I can't educate people if I'm not in front of them. So that's why I'm encouraging anyone and everyone that wants to understand what that's about. It's not just a festival. It's not just food. That's a great part of it. But it's not just that. It's understanding the history, American history, that Juneteenth brings.
I love that. We're going to take a quick break here to hear from our sponsor, Tucson Electric Power. When we come back, I know there's even more questions that we need to have answered today.
It's important that Tucson Electric Power partner with agencies like Compass Affordable Housing to ensure the members of our community have access to the resources that they need. We understand that we're operating in an affordability crisis, and this is not something that can be solved alone. Together, we can achieve so much more.
And as we launch this next segment, we want to thank the Pima County Short-Term Crisis Emergency Resource Grant for sponsoring this portion of this episode. Larry, you shared so much in that first segment, and I really want to go a little bit deeper in what you said, that this is year-long. This is about so many more aspects other than food and people coming together on one day or even one weekend or one full week. But that you also are you and your colleagues and the organization are very focused on the collaboration with others when you get out into those areas. I wonder if you might share with our listeners and viewers a little bit more about, in doing that, are there particular issues that you are looking to solve or challenges to overcome as you create these stronger collaborations?
Yes, actually, one of the areas that we really wanted to focus on, and we do focus on, are Black men. And we're intentional about it, but it's not, exclusive, but we are intentional. We created the Black Men's Healing Space along with Emerge Center for Domestic Abuse and Goodwill. So once a month, we have a place in a space for, Black men could just go have conversations with each other, because a lot of times, we don't have necessarily the therapists and places where Black men may feel comfortable going and having those conversations. So we wanted to create a space that Black men can feel comfortable in. And whatever you believe is your Blackness, you come and have that conversation. And it depends on what the topic is of the day. We just check in and, it's okay, what's on your mind? And let's go from there. And that's once a month we have that. We also have our legacy program, which I spoke with last year at the SVP, where we have, young men and masculine identified youth, who most of them have been touched by the system, whether it's through DCS or if it's corrections or juvenile court, whatever it might be, single parenthood. We want them to understand, their greatness because your situation is only temporary. Your future can be strong. So with that, we have a program that we put them through for 10 weeks. And then after that program, we take them to the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. And that's an important piece because we want them to really touch and feel and see what that history is. When we talk about history, now you can actually see it. You can't, relive it. But for a lot of them, they're like, man, I had no idea. For example, a young man, we walked in, he said, well, what are those marbles for? And when we explained to him, back in the days of Jim Crow, the only way you could vote is if you told them how many marbles were in the bottle. Exactly. So if you didn't know exactly how many marbles in it, you couldn't vote. And they're just flabbergasted, like this is a lot. But we want them to know and understand when they come back why we say, you need to reach back and be a part of this next generation. We need you to be a part of this next group that's coming through so they can see it from your eyes, from the, young person lens and eyes. So that's another part that we do. We have the Black and Brown Men's Healing Space also, so again, it's about culture. It's about community. We partner with Emerge, with the Walk for Domestic Violence. That's in October. We partner with them. We've partnered with the Dolores Huerta, with the Walk There. We're helping them with that march. We do back to school backpacks with ABC. We give out back to school. We've done, Amazon. We've done toys every year at Christmas. We, adopt a school. We adopted Outerback last year and gave out toys for Christmas. We work with churches with the Bright Star, which is Rising Star, with giving out food. We work with Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, giving out free food to the homeless, going around giving out sack lunches and things like that. So again, it's about bringing the community together to understand where we are, because we can't expect people to respond to us if we don't respond to them.
That's so true. And what I also hear you doing is taking, as you said, intentional, very mindful and purposeful decisions and selections, and going out and meeting the community where they are with their need. And it may be different every year. So that's a nice way to continue to spread the ripple effect of the goodness that you are bringing together and healing over perhaps new information or old wounds that need that help. Carolyn, isn't this amazing? I know you have some more to delve in there.
Oh my goodness. I love that this is not just a festival, but the festival's purpose is really working to solve such a deep issue and heal wounds across generations.
Yeah.
And at the same time, keep our youth aware of our history, because it is so important. The old saying, we are bound to repeat history if we forget it.
Yes.
And the idea that I like you made this statement, you stand on the shoulders of giants. Our youth need to realize too that their pathway has been paved standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
The rights that so many of us, all of us, not just our young people, take for granted were hard fought to earn.
Right.
And if we don't honor them, we don't use them.
Right.
We will lose them again.
True.
So I really, before we go to our next break, could you tell us a little bit more? Give us a story of what an outcome or what an impact is that you have seen with your Young Men's Legacy program.
What I've seen with them is growth. We have a few of our young men who are actually working at Goodwill. We have a few young men who are on probation that are now off probation and working. Two or three of them are now actually a part of the mentoring group itself, giving back to the younger, the next generation, volunteering in the community. So it's really about seeing that growth in them, not that they're just walking away, but they're saying, okay, what's next? That's the beauty is when they stick around. And that it's not 100%, we're not there yet, but those who say, you know what, I want to stick around because I want to know what's next. And I feel that I have to be, not that I want to be, but I have to be a part of what's coming next because I owe that because of what, like you said, what you have, breathed into us at this time. I have to give that back somewhere. A young man now, he has his family back, he has his kids. So I want my kids to be a part of. They're young. Like I want them to be a part of this. So just that growth mindset of some of these young men has been absolutely phenomenal.
It breaks one cycle and helps stimulate another.
Exactly. It does. And I tell them, especially in these days, I know you got to go to a break, but in these days, as you said, people can deny history if you want to. You can ignore it.
Yep.
However, it doesn't change the fact that it's still history. You can't change it. That's what you can't do. You can't change it. You can deny it and ignore it, but you can't change it.
But the best thing is we can learn from it
Oh yeah.
and grow from it. And I love that's what you are doing is you're growing a generation of leadership. Uh, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our uh, third segment sponsor, Tucson Osteopathic Medical Foundation, and we'll be right back. I know there's some more information we want to share with our viewers before we let you go today.
Annually, we give to local organizations who are running programs and making great strides in what we call the social determinants of health. It's incredible the work that they're doing, and we're just really proud to be a part of it.
And we're back and want to give yet another thanks to our podcast major sponsor, Tucson Electric Power. Larry, you have shared so much for all of us to take away and to really be thinking about, one in which is especially that Juneteenth is year-round initiatives, year-round attention for men, boys, the community at large. So tell us all how we can be in touch, what events perhaps have just happened and are going to happen, and what we can do to stay connected with you.
Okay, thank you. So, of course, the holiday is June 19th. So we have a few events scheduled for that day. On the 19th at the Drawing Studio, they're going to have all day Pan-African artists from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you get to meet the artists, you can buy art, get to hear their stories about, their artisan and where it comes from. So it's really a great event just to know, especially in that art space, who's here in town because we bring in artists from other places as well. So it's really important to know who's here in that space. And that's from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Drawing Studio. And I believe the Attorney General may be stopping by at that time also. So you can look forward to her coming by today. And then later in the
That's
evening,
fabulous.
yeah, we're going to have a social hour from 5:30 to 7:30 at the playground downtown at the rooftop. So just a social hour. We're calling it a Black Professional Social Hour. But again, that's for anyone and any place, and it's about if you touch Black business, we really want you to be there to share in that space because we really need to know how we're sharing commerce because that's really important also is, where are we spending the dollars and how do we make a difference where we spend our dollars? How do we support, not just Black business, but businesses who affect our community? So that's from 5:30 to 7:30 at the playground downtown on the rooftop, 5:30. And then at the Catalyst after that, from 8 o'clock, they're going to have an open mic. That's on the 19th. Also, there's a whole night for the 19th. You could come out and just have a great time all night. You could start at the Drawing Studio, then go to the playground, then go get some live poetry at that night as well. Then, of course, on the 20th is our festival, and we're happy to be again, at the Keno Sports Complex for the fourth year in a row. Last year, throughout the day, we had about 3,000 people. Last year, this year, we're really expecting, just with the momentum that we've had from all our other events. Every event we've had so far has been packed out, and 90% of our events are all free. We try to make it free to the community. So again, the Juneteenth Festival, Tucson Juneteenth, is free. Make sure you'll stay hydrated. We have free water for everyone that attends, so you don't have to pay for water. We also have a kid zone for the kids. We have jumping castles. We'll provide hamburgers and hot dogs for kids that are under the age of 12, so parents can go out and, get to the food trucks. Speaking of food trucks, we have about 30 different food vendors. And again, we have an eclectic mix of food that's there. It's barbecue, but there's, shrimp tacos, and there's the lemonadas and all sorts of food that you can get out there, baked goods, cotton candy, whatever you want, it'll be there. We also have over 100 informational vendors, which is really important, for the community to come see out and connect what's there in the community for you. We have retail vendors, these are really all small. I hate to say mom and pop, but, kind of beginning entrepreneurs, with vendors, and a lot of them family owned. And for a few of them, this is their time to come out. They only come out once a year and bring their things to the Tucson Juneteenth Festival. So for a few of them, this is their time to shine in the community. If you have a car, we have a beautiful car show. So when we first started, I think at Kennedy Park, we had about 15 cars there. And I think they said this year we may have up to 75, cars in the car show and the staging area. So it's absolutely a beautiful event. We have, of course, entertainment. We have live band, poetry, all day long. And then you got to stay to the end because we have fireworks. So you can't have a festival without fireworks, So, my board used to be like, why do you need fireworks? And well, they have fireworks at 4th of July. Well, shouldn't we have anything Juneteenth? So it makes sense, right? And on the 20th, also, we have, the governor is going to be for her second time coming down to see us. I think people are really acknowledging and understanding the importance of Tucson Juneteenth. And a lot of people are coming to see what we're doing, because I was just on a podcast the other day, and they asked me, what is my favorite part of the festival? Is it the food? Is it the kids on? I said, no, for me, honestly, it's really sitting on the stage, looking out there and seeing the community, seeing kids enjoy themselves, seeing families sitting on the grass, talking, seeing friends who haven't seen each other in a year. That's really the best part for me, is just seeing that community connection that it brings. And you asked about throughout the year, you can always go to TucsonJune19.org. That's our Facebook, our website. You can go to our Facebook page. We're on Instagram. So please contact us if you like to volunteer for any of our events. We have the Black Family Reunion coming up in October, which is a community cookout. Just everybody come out. We have free food. It's a big potluck. Everybody come out and join. If you like to volunteer for any of our events, we work every month at the Dunbar with ABC, A Better Community. We work with them every month. So again, if you just want to get involved, if you want to be a volunteer, if you like to come to any of our spaces, please, look us up on any of these social media platforms.
And for our viewers who might want to learn more about the Legacy program, is that on your website?
That is on our website. It is.
Oh,
It is on our
fantastic.
website. So you can go to our website, go to the Legacy program, and then if you have any person you'd like to get involved, you can also go through the Goodwill website, Goodwill of Southern Arizona. So we have the contacts there. So again, it's growing, and it's a beautiful growth. So the community, again, as I said, with all the partnerships that we've had this year, people just saying, hey, can I be a part of it? We had an event called The Hats That We Wear. It was, just talking about the culture of hats in the community. We had an event at the Dunbar called Confessions of a Recovering People Pleaser, and I, I'm right there with that one. We're right there with that one.
Absolutely. I think all of us are there.
Oh, right there with that one. That was one of our paid events, but again, very good showing. And again, just, looking at those places and spaces we don't normally go. And while I say we're intentional, we're inclusive of everyone, I want to get to the place where people don't feel apprehensive about doing anything. A couple of years ago, I had a family, they emailed us and said, we're an adoptive family. We have, some Black adoptive kids. Is it okay if we come? We're white. I'm like, yeah, but again, I don't want anybody to feel that apprehension. I don't want you to feel as though I just want you to come and just enjoy yourself. I don't care what you look like. As long as you're not opposing or antithetical to what we're doing, come have fun.
Doesn't that boil
Have
down
fun.
to
Welcome to all.
Yeah.
and that's beautiful because that's really is creating a human development ecosystem community that needs each other, leans on each other, and strengthens each other.
Exactly.
Larry, thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing in community, for being our
Thank,
guest today.
thank
Uh,
you.
Lydia, I think there's some food trucks waiting for us.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
If
And maybe
anyone,
some open mics.
right? As always, you can learn more about what's happening in community on our Compass Ecosystem podcast or online at www.compassaffordablehousing.org. Thank you, Larry, for joining us today. Lydia, thank you for keeping me on track. We look forward to seeing everyone next week with our next guest.
Look forward to being back. Thank you
Thank
all
you,
so much.
Larry.
Thank you. Guys, be blessed.